morning, good afternoon, good evening, based on where you are watching us from. This is KMTV, and this live is being brought to you strictly from the Supreme Court of Liberia, as today marks a very, very important, day in the country, as it relates to the Bill of Information that has been filed by the Speaker of the Minority Bloc, Speaker Fonati Koffa. So we are here. We have journalists. They are in numbers to provide you with what is to unfold here today. And the place is highly guided by security as well. We wait on what is to be said by the Supreme Court as it relates to the back and forth that has been at the legislature.
What was that ruling? They say you didn't want to
if you listen, that will be a the Supreme Court ruling is fair.
Thank you.
See a huge presence of state security, particularly the Liberia National Police, all deployed here to provide security as the Supreme Court of Liberia hands down final judgment, if you may, final ruling into the Bill of Information filed by Speaker J. Fonati Koffa.
We are excited.
Is this a win for you?
Yes, it's a win for the Constitution. It's a win for the rule of
Wonderful saying.
and it's a win for Liberia. So at this time, we first want to call on our colleagues to adhere to the ruling of the court for the sake of our democracy, and call on the President of the Republic of Liberia to mandate the executive to act in line with the mandate of the court and to restore all privileges to the Speaker of the 55th Legislature, Councillor J. Fonati Koffa.
Honorability, there are concerns that at some point in this entire saga, you went in there with the majority bloc. You went in the session, you sat under the guidance of Honorable Good, and now at some point you left, and here we are today.
We have never sat under Richard Good. We went there, we did not preserve the rule of call, and we made our point and we walk out. Richard Good has never been the caucus. In as a leader, as a black, we never go inside on them. Individuals have gone there trying to persuade them to come so that we can sit together, where you can follow the rule. If you want to remove the speaker, or you want to ask him to resign, you can resign. Today, the Supreme Court has done justice to our country. It has done justice to the Constitution, and it has restored the dignity of the Republic. We want to call on President Joseph Walker to issue the appropriate mandate to all members of government, to the police, to ensure that at this moment, as I speak, that the full authority of the Speaker of the 55th Legislature is restored, as the Speaker will lead the House in trying to reconcile us and deciding the fate of
How many men?
You follow an illegal means or an illegal method to do something. Whatever that comes out of that particular illegal method under the doctrine of the questionable street is illegal, is questionable. So the passage of the budget is unconstitutional, and they have a way to go back and correct that process.
Is the country operating on an illegal budget?
Of course, that is the Supreme Court opinion.
So the Supreme Court is looking at an illegal budget.
First of all, you need to know that when the budget is not even passed, the Supreme Court or the judiciary has term of the budget, that agency has that particular 112. That's correct. So the action carried out to pass the law, the budget, was unconstitutional by virtue of the Supreme Court's opinion today. So what is not done legally is not done at all.
How do you feel?
Let's follow the law.
How do you feel today?
I feel happy today that we are on the path of the rule of law. It's not about I'm representing Fonati Koffa. As a student of history and political science, and as a reader of law and a lawyer, when I see those that took oath to protect the Constitution violating the Constitution, I worry. Because history has a tendency of reminding us about the past of those things that were responsible for the conflict in this country. And so we shouldn't repeat those particular mistakes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sir. We'd like to commend the Supreme Court of Liberia for finally ruling this particular matter. The ruling is very important. The ruling is a consequential ruling. The ruling stated very clearly that members of the House of Representatives must follow the rule of law in terms of the removal of the Speaker. That process was not followed by members of the House of Representatives. That is the majority side. So the Supreme Court maintains that from December 6, 2024 ruling, Speaker Koffa remains the Speaker of the House of Representatives until he's removed in keeping with the Constitution of Liberia and in keeping with the rules of the House of Representatives. This is a significant ruling because it upholds the rule of law. So we are urging the members of the House of Representatives to respect and uphold the rule of law as ruled by the Supreme Court. And this also applies to the executive branch of government. We hope that everyone now can abide by the ruling of the Supreme Court. No, the budget is not the issue before the House. That was before the House, the processes leading to the removal of the Speaker. That's the question the Supreme Court was addressing, right? Whether the majority acted in keeping with the law, right? So the budget, I mean, like some people said, it's a political in the budget, so to speak, but the Supreme Court is very clear that, yes, you need to follow the different processes. Well, the issue of the budget is an executive decision. We hope that everyone will be able to respect and follow the rule of law now. So the budget issue is not before the House, right? I mean, the budget was passed by the majority, so to speak, but the Supreme Court is clear that the Speaker must preside over the session of the House. Whether the budget is illegal, is unconstitutional, that is not before the Supreme Court. But the Supreme Court said any actions that were taken by the majority outside of the Speaker will be considered unconstitutional.
What happens, in your own opinion, what happens if the majority bloc refuses to go under the gavel of Speaker Koffa?
It will be a sad day for the reputation of all members of the majority bloc. The majority bloc, the majority members must adhere by the ruling of the Supreme Court. Because if you are honorable, the title honorable does not say you should violate the rule of law. The title honorable makes you somebody who is a constitutional creature, meaning that you came to power through the Constitution. It is our hope that they will respect and adhere to the ruling of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, like it's stated in the Constitution, Article 66, is the final arbiter of justice. So we call on them to respect the rule of law.
Well, I'm overjoyed. I am gratified with the ruling from the Supreme Court. I think it clearly in line with what the Constitution provides. I think law justice has won, and the law is a law.
What does the ruling say particularly?
Well, I follow the ruling, despite the long reading from the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, but in substance, in essence, the ruling has clearly provided in unambiguous terms that all of the actions and settings of the sextile majority bloc are unconstitutional. With that, the Supreme Court has indeed upheld the fact that Honorable Councillor J. Fonati Koffa remains the Speaker of the House of Representatives.
Do you think the majority bloc is going to listen to that, judging from some of the political past?
Well, I strongly believe that you are ahead of the court's ruling as lawmakers who took oath to support, uphold the Constitution of the land, and like the Chief Justice stated clearly that the mandate, the directives of the Supreme Court is upon all officials all officers of government, and that include members of the House of Representatives. So no one is above the law. I do believe that these lawmakers who were elected by the people to come represent them and took oath to uphold and protect the land of our country will do the right thing. It is not late. They can now go ahead to ahead.
So thanks for joining us. Thanks for following us. Thanks for always engaging KMTV. This is how we like to say bye-bye.